Hey, what's going on, guys? Recently you've seen me taking a look at a few of the Mecha Musume Attack Girls kits, and so we're taking a break from those. I do still have a couple of those left to review for you guys, but we're taking a break, and today you're going to be looking at this one here, the Guan Yu from MS General line of kits here. So this is a dragon themed one. Again, it's going to be pretty similar to the Attack Girls kit, but in this case just from a different company, but I can imagine it's probably going to be pretty similar. Now, unfortunately, my box got a little wet sitting on the floor there. There was a leak or something is sitting kind of next to my sink, so it's a little bit waterlogged on the bottom of there, but that's fine. It's just the box. Everything in there will be fine, but as we're taking a look around the box, forgive the water damage on that. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get a look at it. Yeah, so my box is getting a little bit destroyed in the process, unfortunately, because it's wet, but also on the inside of the box here, I just wanted to show this to you. There's a cardboard liner on the inside of the box, I guess, just to help keep the box's shape. That also adds to the weight of the box as well too. So I mean, I kind of get that for stability reasons, but if you're getting this shipped internationally, it's going to make it that much more expensive a little bit. Anyway, so here obviously is our parts for making all the 5 dragon heads. So we'll get to all of the parts here in a minute. Just want to take a look at the manual first, and hopefully the manual is not wet. Oh, it's wet. Oh no, no. So I'm gonna have to dry this out, but let's take a look at the wet version here. Pretty cool, right? On the inside there, you've got what's kind of a manga. It's all in Chinese though, unfortunately, but just some, I guess like just one page of manga there. Oh no. Oh no, and it's tearing too. Oops. Oh, shit. Well, there where her face is now gone is the illustration of the character. And the body design down here, more images just of the kits. Yeah, that's not good. Oh no. Anyway, some more pictures of the kit, basically just what's on the outside of the box. And our instructions for building, the parts list, everything. Let's see what else is in here. In the back pages there, we've got just the illustration of where the markings go on this. So it looks like there are some markings. Hopefully they're not water. Hopefully they are water slides, but hopefully they're protected and not wet. And then we just got this little bit here at the back, which I'm not really sure what that's all about, but there you go. Okay, let's see. Here are the water slides, and miraculously they're not wet. Whew, thank God. At least these are protected. And again, the parts are fine. This plastic doesn't matter if those are wet at all. Alright, so there's the markings, and all of the water slides do look really nice. You got a good amount of those. It's something that the Attack Girl kits don't include, and even most Megami Device and Frame Arms kits, a lot of them don't, Frame Arms Girl I should say, other Mecha Musume kits, don't usually come with a lot of water slides, so this is pretty nice to see it coming with actually a good amount of water slide decals on there that you can use for like the armor parts and everything. Alright, here, so first up we do also just have some just regular stickers. They'll just be used for some minor color corrections. As you can see there, just a few of them, not like foil stickers, it seems like just kind of the paper stickers that probably aren't going to work very well. We also do have this metal pin, which I'm not exactly sure where this is going to be used on the kit yet, but probably just related to just the stability of that, so we'll have to see about that. We got our hands here molded in black on this softer type runner, which is pretty usual for hands on these type of kits. And I'm just immediately reminded this is in a larger scale. Just a heads up, this is in a 1/10th scale. So it'd be similar to the Kotobukiya Frame Arms Girl kits, which are on 1/10th scale. Megami Device and Attack Girls kits are all in 1/12th scale, a little bit smaller, so this one's going to be a little bit larger. And here are our pre-painted faces, which look a bit weird with that big massive forehead. We got some major egg heads here. We got open mouth looking to the side, open mouth, they're looking angry, and then blank versions of them there as well too. Interestingly though, I don't think that this actually comes with water slides for the eyes, actually, now that we think about it. We saw the water slides, but there's no water slides for the eyes. So I guess with those blank options, you can just paint your own eyes on there, I guess, if you preferred. But then closed mouth looking off to the other side, and then closed mouth just looking straight there. So you have 4 pre-painted faces, and they do look pretty nice. They got some nice color on there. The painting of them does look good. But anyway, here is our A runner with all of our skin tone parts over here on this side, and then on this side in a kind of clear orangish red color. You got some clear parts there as well. And the B runner is interesting in that it came wrapped in bubble wrap just on its own for its protection. But this is going to be all of our hair parts here, which is in like a slightly greenish black color. It's kind of odd that it's greenish in its color, but it looked that way on the box art as well too, so it makes sense. You got some parts here for the limbs as well, and then just all of your hair parts. Runner C also going to be in 2 color, which on that note is interesting to see that we've got runners molded in multiple colors, because as far as I know, that was usually only something that Bandai ever does, because from any of their company, Kotobukiya even, or the Attack Girls line, anything, they're always molded, always the runners in just one solid color. So to see these multicolored runners is actually kind of unique. But anyway, you've got some white over on this side and some gray over here on this side. As you can see, some more parts for the body and some of the armor and everything. Runner D as well, another 2-color runner. We got the dark green and the yellow over here on this side. We've got 2 of this D runner. And runner E is in a clear orange and looks really nice. This is in a different color, by the way, from what we saw on the A runner. That was definitely in a more reddish orange. This is in a different, just kind of straight up clear orange color. Runner F here in gray is just a bunch of our kind of more mechanical parts. We've got 2 of this F runner there as well. Runner G is more armor parts in green, and I will just make a mention at this point that the plastic quality does seem pretty nice. It feels good. The finish is not anything really special. It doesn't seem anything like too glossy or too matte finish or anything like that. It's pretty normal, but just the plastic feeling does feel nice. And runner H as well too here for some more of our armor pieces. Runner I for a little bit smaller runner here in gray with basically just some different connection parts on there. And then we get into the fun stuff for the deluxe edition. So we've got actually 6 of the J runner. The J runner here once again is in yellow and green, part for the dragon heads. So we'll be getting to build 6 of these. That will be quite the task. But it certainly doesn't end there, because we've also got 6 of the K runner, which is all these little parts here in gray for the dragon heads as well too. We got 6 of those. And then of course is 6 of the L runner as well, which is another 2-color runner there, this time in clear red for those clear parts, and then some gray parts on there as well. So it's gonna be a lot, it's gonna take so much longer to make just all the dragon heads, 6 of them. It's gonna be quite a daunting task. If you don't like the repetition of building like the same thing again and again and again, it's gonna be a tough challenge, but a necessary one. Finally, runner O here, which seems to be just our kind of simple base kind of stand for this. Not necessarily seems like for the kit. I believe this is just going to be like for just holding up like your dragon or something basically. And so it seems a little bit lackluster that this is all we have for the stand for this. Some other sort of stand, again like the stand that is included with the Megami device kits is quite nice, albeit simple. It does seem better than this. And also the stand that came with the Attack Girls kits is also really quite nice as well too. And you got some pre-printing on those and everything. But this seems a little bit disappointing if this is all we get for a stand for the kit. There you have it, guys. I've got everything stuck in this new temporary box for the moment while I'm trying to dry out my regular box for the kit and salvage that. But for now, I'm just going to work on go ahead and getting this thing all put together, and then we'll take a look, see how it looks. Alright guys, so here she is all built up in her armored form, but as we know, we've got tons of dragon heads to add on to her. That was fun to build all those. We'll get back to that here in a little bit, but you got the armored form, the full form, and then we also have the unarmored form as well too, which we'll take a look at towards the end of the video. But for my basic kind of overall thoughts on the kit so far, just from having built it up now, I gotta say the quality is really quite nice. The actual character figure inside I'm not quite as impressed with, but all the armor and everything all fits together really nicely. You don't really have much in the way of fitting issues at all. I didn't have any problems with that. Everything feels quite solid, and there's not really too much in the way of seam lines either on a lot of the armor pieces, which is nice. It's all designed pretty well. But the other thing that I'm just not really too sure about with this kit is just the proportions, especially in this armor state. You can see how long the arms are. They look very strangely long, especially there just in the biceps, because you have like half a bicep there, or you know, a good amount, half a bicep, and then a very full, big, huge bicep chunk of armor there. Then attached onto that, so like the elbow is very low. And it's kind of the same thing down here in the legs as well too. The legs also seem very super long. Like long legs for like an anime style girl is not that unusual. It's quite common. So they don't seem like quite as weird, but long arms definitely seem a bit strange on the top. That said, once we get into like some action poses, I'm guessing probably not going to be as noticeable, and I'm not really going to be bothered by it too much. But just real quick before we get into talking about some of the articulation of it here, I just want to point out where the stickers go. So you got those little orange squares of like camera stickers up in there right next to the head there. You got the same ones down here on the front of the thighs. Those are orange little stickers. They're right here on the front of the body as well too. Those green bits are stickers, 1, 2, 3 of those there. And it's going to be kind of hard to see that little gray bit on the white part there on this kind of back skirt section. That is also a little gray sticker on there. Now, as for the articulation up here on the mask, these parts here on the top of the head are on ball joints. You can kind of angle those if you wanted to have those more pointing forward. Might be a kind of cool look for those. You can point those back. Those are just on little ball joints there. The head, of course, is just on a ball joint as well too. And one thing that I mentioned too about the body not being quite as impressive, one of the reasons is that it's lacking in articulation. So like here in the torso section, we would normally have another joint Here it'd be like 2 joints, but this one only has the 1. And the same thing was with the neck, whereas with a lot of Kotobukiya kits, for example, or the Attack Girl series kits, we have 2 joints there in the neck, one at the base of the head and one at the base of the neck, but this one only has just the head on a simple ball joint there at the top. So that's also, that'll move up and down a little bit, and the hair is just this big massive chunk that doesn't have an articulation bend here like some different frame arms girls or something like that. For example, sometimes when they have longer hair, there's a break in the pieces. There's the piece for the top of the head, and then this lower part is a separate piece so that it can actually bend out. This is just all one big solid piece, so that it kind of gets in the way a little bit with that just being all one piece. I kind of wish that was broken up into a couple of pieces as well too, but that's one big huge piece, and you got like 2 pieces for the sides and then like 1 little piece for the bangs. It's easier to see once we get the other head. Well, anyway, I'll just show you this for example. This is the unarmored version of the head. So you can see there's 1 big main section, 2 little side bits that come out to the side there, and then the 1 for the bangs. It's the same with the armored version of the head, except the armored version of the head has little attachment points in the side where all this big huge massive stuff is all plugged around onto the head there. So that, I mean, that's a kind of cool system. It's kind of basically plugged in here onto the back, and then all this stuff around here is just kind of wrapped around the head there then. So aside from those yellow bits being able to move, this whole green section is able to move as well too, and then this clear orange part can also rotate around, so you can just kind of adjust the angle of that as needed. If you're doing a certain pose, you need that to kind of get up out of the way or something of the arms or any weapons or anything, you can move that stuff around pretty easily. And the clear parts do look really nice. You have layered clear orange and clear red parts here in the face mask, and those make for a pretty cool look. You can't really see the eyes at all. They are up there. If you get the right angle, you can see up in there, but so at this point it kind of doesn't really matter too much what face part you put on there, because you can't really see the face all that much really. So like I said, our joint here in the body is just right there between the top and bottom half of the torso, and again it's going to be kind of hard when I'm trying to bend it. I'm like having to grab it, but I'm holding on to this part of the kit here, and that's pushing the hair down onto that, and it's not making it able to move, so you kind of have to lift that up so the hair is out of the way, and then try to move the torso forward and back, so you can see that'll move around like that, and then a little bit side to side, and everything's just on a ball joint up in there as well too. Now like I said, normally with a lot of other designs you would have another joint here between the midsection and the hip section, but there's not, so it's just the connection of the legs here for you. And I mean, you can bring the legs out pretty wide, and then obviously forward and back, not really going to be an issue for that too much either. The arms are also just plugged in via just a simple ball joint there for the most part, but then you have a hinge where you'll be able to bring the arm up and down there as well. And for the arms, of course, we'll have some rotation there, just where the flesh meets the mechanical parts here, basically. And then a joint here in the elbow. It will be a double joint, but just because of the size of that bicep, you won't really get a full bend, but a pretty nice bend, more than 90 degrees anyway. And then here on the forearm, we have some articulation with these bits. These yellow parts open out to the side, and then this part will fold up like that for a pretty cool look, so you can expand those parts out like that. And the wrist is just your typical wrist joint. There's a hinge there, and you can rotate that around, so that's all pretty nice. And then down here on the legs, you have these bits here on the side which are plugged on, much better than they were on the Attack Girls kits. The Arachne and the Circuit kits both had a kind of similar thing where they had this big armor panel attached onto the side of the thigh, but the connection parts were very weak. So like I said with this one thing that I do really like about this kit is that everything is very stable. The connections and everything is a really good fit on this. You don't have parts falling off at all, at least not what I've experienced so far. So that will move around a little bit for you, just again to make sure that you can get that out of the way while you're trying to pose the kit and everything. You got this big massive knee part sticking out there, which looks a bit odd, but when we bring the leg up, and then we got a double joint here in the knee, so you can see there's a bit of separation here with this kind of kneecap part there. It's kind of hard to know when you're just looking at the kit. It's kind of hard to know, okay, where exactly the knee bend is going to be, because it's just this big mass of all these different shapes. But it's cool to see when you bend that, you got that double joint, and this part actually does kind of move a little bit there. And you got some clear orange parts here for these kind of little vents in the front of the leg, and here on the back of the leg as well too. There's a kind of a little cool opening gimmick with these two. There's flaps on the top and bottom, and when you open the flaps up, the two vents there in the center kind of close in on each other, so kind of opposite effect. You open the vents and those move in, and you close the vents and those will bend out like that. So I'll try to show that. It's just a small movement, but try to show this to you guys a couple times so you can see what I mean. So when those are opened up, they're closer, and when they're closed, they're farther spread apart, so then maybe you can see the difference between that. And again, the clear red parts do look really quite nice in there for those. And the foot down here is connected via a ball joint, so you can move that around this ankle armor. It will also be able to move a little bit on its own there as well too. But aside from the foot just moving around there at the ankle, the front part is not separately articulated or anything, so you've just got this foot is just all one solid piece. You can't bend the toe or anything like that. Up underneath the feet, the manual tells you to put some kind of like pad part in there. I don't know if it's just like missing from my kit or something, or if like, I don't know where that is. I couldn't see that included anywhere in my box. And then just going back up here to this back skirt section, again, some cool clear red parts here on the side of the legs as well there too, and back up in here. So these parts on the side will open up. You can move the top and bottom pieces like that, and these inner parts will also separate out a little bit there as well too, for like, that's the maximum, but that looks a bit odd. You can just have them separated out like that. Does look pretty cool, or you can close them back up like that. These whole sections also have a little sub arm on the front, which is not super obvious, so it's just kind of like sticking up there kind of around the body, but you got this little sub arm with these little fingers you can open up here at the end. So that's pretty cool, and that actually is kind of more useful when we have all the dragon parts. This section kind of can become the kind of torso section of your dragon, basically, if you take it off of there. But it's cool to have this little sub arm on there as well too, if you wanted to have that holding some extra, like a rifle or something. We don't have any other range weapons included with this, but if you want to do some kit bashing, it could be a kind of cool thing, sort of similar to the Full Metal Panic Levitine kit, sort of how it has the sub arms kind of like underneath the chest. So this section on the side here can be rotated up and down a little bit independently like that as well too. And back around here on the back skirt, this lower part can move up and down. These side parts here can't move in and out, but they can also rotate a little bit just to kind of very slightly change the angle of that. But it's a cool design, cool like vent part in there, and just this design kind of reminds me of the Dynamace. I think it's just the colors of it, and also just this circular shape in there that reminds me of the Dynamace back skirt. But that is about it for the articulation. So I mean, it's pretty standard overall. There's a couple of places basically in the hip section, kind of waist section, and then also in the neck where I wish we had an additional joint in there, but otherwise that's basically about it. And again, aside from the articulation being pretty standard, being pretty good, everything is really solid. We're not having anything falling off, which is fantastic. Now we do, of course, also have the unarmored arms and leg sections, which we'll take a look at here in a little bit, but again, those also look nice. We do have a little bit of toe bend on this one, actually, on the foot for that, so these are pretty nice. And again, some nice color separation between the green, the dark green, and the gray there. That all looks pretty cool. The arms are just all in that darker green color anyway, which honestly is a bit odd because it's like the same color as the hair being in this really dark green color, and the outfit or parts of the outfit being the same color is a bit strange. As for this metal rod, I couldn't see anywhere in the manual where this was supposed to go. The only thing that I can guess maybe is that you can use this instead of this plastic piece in here for the weapon, which is pretty cool. And it's a little bit shorter though, or I guess maybe not. It's maybe about the same length as that. So yeah, I guess if you wanted to not use this plastic piece and use this metal one instead for a bit more stability, you could use that. I guess that's what that's for, but it didn't really seem to say anywhere clearly in the manual as far as I could tell. That said, it probably says right here in the manual where I'll assembling this section, and this is part of where my manual got ripped and damaged from being wet, so it's probably what I'm missing there. Anyway, as for our weapon, yeah, it is really cool. I love this blade part on that clear orange blade part looks really super nice. The dragon head does have some more articulation to it, but this weapons version of it is just kind of meant to just be kind of as it is. It's got like the tail bits on there, and then all these little bits can all move around like that. You can move those, but this one is kind of basically just meant to be as it is, like this, just a handheld sword weapon like that, which is all good and all. And this is for the standard version, but if you have the deluxe version, you also have another section of dragon head, and 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 a fifth section of dragon head, and a section of dragon tail. And I never want to do this again. It took so long to put these together. Each one of these little segments is 10 pieces. So if you consider that times how many we've got here on all the heads, and then there's a couple there on the weapons as well too. There was so many of those things to put together. But each of our dragon head sections here, I mean, again though, it's totally redeemed by the fact that it feels super solid. Everything on here feels really nice. The dragon mouth opens up, and then you've got like a little kind of laser cannon inside there, I guess, sort of thing. I don't know if that's perhaps maybe meant to be a flamethrower or something, but again, the clear parts look really nice. You have the clear parts coming off the back of here and some more in there, and then the clear part there for the eye. I'm not really getting why it has these attachment points on the side of the head, because as far as I can tell, there's nothing really to do with those. But we have some articulation between the segments of the neck. Basically, if you kind of pull that apart a little bit, it's kind of easier to move these around. When you have them pushed all the way against each other, it's going to be limiting the articulation a little bit, but if you pull them apart just a little bit, and the peg connecting them is totally long enough for you to be meant to do this. It's not like this is weakening the connection. So you've got some up and down movement between those sections, and also side to side movement between those sections. And then, like I said, each one of these yellow parts is just on a little ball joint as well too. Also rotation between the segments as well there also. And then we have this connection piece, which is going to connect them all together. So you have 4 of the same length using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments, and then you have one longer one which is using 6 segments, which will go on the top to be just a little bit longer. And then our tail section here uses 4 regular segments, and then these 2 segments here have points there to plug this onto the base, so you can stick that up onto there, and you could only use 1 if you want, I suppose, but then this part will plug on top of that section like that, and you can plug in all your dragon heads on top of that. So again, the articulation on these is really nice. They feel super solid, nothing feels weak or like anything's going to come apart. This tail sections as well too, again, just cool use of those clear orange parts. Each kind of side of that, it's kind of got 2 sides. Those are just both connected via ball joints as well too, so you can just kind of move those around. Basically everything moves around on this. Before we try out some posing with all this stuff, I just want to show you guys a quick size comparison here with your standard Master Grade Gundam. And it's just because I figure some of you guys might be interested in using some of these dragon parts for like kit bashing with a Gundam kit or something like that. So I want to give you guys an idea of the size of these. They're going to be pretty big, these parts. The dragon part specifically probably would be much too big for anything 1/44 scale, I'd imagine. If you wanted to use this with anything Gundam related, probably 1/100 scale is going to be the best matchup. And then there you've also got the Kotobukiya Frame Arms Girl Griffin kit, which you can see is much shorter. That said, of course, is the unarmored version versus the armored version of the Guan Yu here, so not an exact comparison, but still, it's definitely going to be pretty tall. And then compared with the Eastern model, Attack Girl Black Tortoise, which is going to be my next Attack Girl kit that I'm going to be reviewing for you guys. Obviously, as you can see, I've already got it built up and ready for review, so that'll be coming very soon for you guys as well too. And that one as well, you can see is going to be quite a bit shorter also. Alright guys, so let's check out some different posing options, things you can do with this kit. So we'll take a look at it first in the full form with all the dragon heads and the dragon tail and everything on there. From the front, it looks really impressive. From the back, it looks a bit weird how you have like kind of all the heads and tail kind of forming together into that one singular point there at the kind of behind, just like on like the back of the design, sort of like behind it, and just like also happens to be connected to the back skirt sort of. So it's a bit weird, but I mean, I don't really know how else they really could have done that. Also, using that long weapon can be kind of difficult when you got all the dragon heads everywhere, because the weapon's kind of long, so it's going to be kind of getting in the way, crashing into the dragon heads and stuff. So posing with that weapon can be a little bit tricky as well too, but it's just a lot of stuff to move around, so you just have to get everything all moved into the right position to make it look as cool as possible. And it definitely does look cool, and there's no doubt about that. I think just the sculpt, the dragon heads look great. I mean, I'll just say I'm not really too into the whole dragon motif, really, to be honest, in most cases, but I mean, they do look really nice. The yellow and green parts go together really nicely with those clear parts in there as well too. Look really cool. And of course, the other thing that you can do with those dragon parts is, instead of having 5 heads, you can just make 1 head and a super long body. And like I said, using that back skirt part as like kind of the torso with a couple little tiny kind of Chinese dragon style with the tiny little arms, you can just make one really super long dragon, which can also be pretty cool. And honestly, I think probably, I don't know if it's necessarily a better option, but I mean, if you were to do that, the good point is that you have all the extra dragon heads left over that then you could use for, again, some kit bash or something, kit bashing that with some Frame Arms Girl kit, or, you know, like a Gundam kit or something. I don't know exactly how you might want to do that, but having those left over, not necessarily a bad thing, because you could certainly use them with other stuff. Now, I'm not the kind of person that really cares that much about LED gimmicks usually, to be honest, but there is some space there in the dragon heads for you if you wanted to make your own custom LEDs. I think it would look pretty cool if you wanted to do the work to put an LED in each of the dragon heads that would also like light up the eyes there. That would look really cool. So you got that big clear chunk right in the middle of the head. If you just stick an LED in there, I think that would look really cool. So not something that I'm going to do, but if any of you guys are into doing LED work, I think this is one kit that you could definitely make some cool LEDs for this, and that would look really nice as well too. You make one there like in the head as well too to light up that mask. That'd look pretty sweet actually. So anyway guys, there's certainly a lot of potential with this kit, whether you want to do anything extra to it or just build it up and just, you know, pose it up, mess around with it just how it is straight out the box. I think it does look really nice. There is some opportunities around here and there that you could go in and do some more panel lining, adding the decals. And you have the set of water slide decals included. If you want to add some of those decals on too, that's pretty nice as well too. Then maybe just give it some gloss coats or a top coat, of just any kind of gloss or matte, whatever you wanted to do with that. Of course, just being careful not to spray any matte coat on top of all those clear parts. That'd be one quick way to ruin all of those nice clear parts on this kit. But yeah guys, overall a very impressive kit. Definitely just comparing this to like Kotobukiya and the Eastern Models Attack Girls line, I'd say it's kind of right around in the same area, maybe a little bit better than the Attack Girls line in that it does feel a little, I didn't have really any fitting issues with this, and the Attack Girls line so far has been pretty good as well too. Haven't really had so much in the way of fitting issues with that, but the fit and just how solid everything feels does feel really nice on this kit. The couple points of lacking articulation in the body I think is a bit of a trade-off, because lacking articulation does mean that the body is going to look more full without having all these kind of weird breaks in the body. It makes the body look unnatural. The less pieces, the more natural the body is going to look, but the less articulation, so you're limited in what pose you can actually do with that. So again, it's a bit of a trade-off there. I would have liked a little bit more articulation in the body just to be able to do a little bit wider range of poses, but that said, I think in general it does look pretty good. The head and just the face it's not great, but it looks fine. Overall, the pre-painting on the faces I think is pretty nice. It's just the head looks a bit weird because it does look very tall. We saw just the head, the face parts looking a bit like these big, massive forehead, egg-shaped face parts, but then once you get the hair on there, they don't really look all that much better. The head still looks a little bit too tall in its design. But for now guys, I think that's pretty much just about going to do it for this kit. If you have any other further questions or comments, of course do feel free to leave those down below. At the moment, this kit is available for pre-order at USA Gundam Store, so check that out if you're interested. You can save 10% off it as well too using my coupon code ZakuAurelius10. So the link to the site and the coupon code are down in the video description below. Definitely check that out if you're interested. I think this kit, the price for it is somewhere around $75, $76, something like that, plus 10% off of that. Not a bad price for everything that you're getting in the box. Obviously, as you guys saw, it's pretty big, and with all those dragon parts, it was a pain in the ass to build all of those dragon parts. It took forever, but I think it's worth the effort because they do end up looking really impressive. So if you've got the patience to do that, I think it's a really, really nice price for this kit. Totally worth it. So check it out, guys. If you guys leave a comment, like, subscribe, anything like that, that is all greatly appreciated as well too. Thank you guys so much for your support. Till next time, I'll see you guys all later. Have a good one. Bye guys.